Welcome to FitBody Lifestyle, the show where we dive deep into the world of fitness, health, business, relationships, and the art of living a balanced life. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Greg, and we're here to give you the benefit of our experiences in the fitness and bodybuilding industry, the corporate world, running a business, personal development, and building healthy relationships.
Whether you're sweating it out in the gym, hustling in your business, or seeking balance in your everyday life, you're in the right place.
So lace up those sneakers and grab that water bottle, and let's get ready to transform our minds, our bodies, and our lives. Hello, FitBody Lifers, and welcome to another episode of FitBody Lifestyle. And I don't even know what I was thinking about in that moment, but it just came out as a laugh, so that's okay. It's okay to laugh and have fun. Yay! So I'm here with the love of my life, Miss Jamie D. And we are both joined by a very special guest visitor, Miss Phoebe Hagan.
Thank you.
I think you have legendary status, so you get the like
I love
the
that.
Ohio State University. We have the Phoebe Hagan.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you for having me. I always love being here. And it's been almost a year since I've been sat in this seat, or since I last saw you guys anyway. So it was nice to be back.
I know, it's so nice to have you out, and we're doing our Arnold prep. So this is like our first show together.
Yeah. And do you know what? For me, it's cool because when I walked in, again, I never think of anything being like having, I like to have emotion behind things. But then when I kind of walked in here, I was like, wow, the last time I walked in here, I was not in a state where I was going to be wanting to prep anytime soon. Mm-hmm. And we were getting ready to kind of potentially step on stage either the next year or just get we weren't even thinking about stage. It was more mindset. Now I'm 9 weeks out from the Arnolds, and it's our first show in 2026. So it's just cool how it's all kind of come back, which is nice. So yeah.
Super exciting. And I'm really glad we got that time together, before kind of that prep sort of mindset started, just so we could get to know each other. We could work on getting you to that place where you're super excited to prep.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about that, whether or not we were going to compete end of last year or beginning of this year. And, talk about that. How was mindset? How was that decision-making process for you?
I mean, I think for me last year, it's weird saying last year because I still think it's this year. I still keep wanting to be this year. And I'm like, no, it's 2026 now. But last year, I feel like it was just, I knew I wanted to come back, which was nice because I think 2024 for me was when obviously we took the time off and I didn't know if I was going to come back. It was obviously you were helping me through the entire process and I was very much resistant, I think, at the beginning. I think I felt like that anyway.
You did some different things, the high rocks.
But I think it was anything that bodybuilding, I was just I'm just not feeling it. I can't, I don't want to say I can't, but I just didn't want to, which I think is fine to say that now.
Sure.
I didn't want to track, I didn't want to train. I just didn't want that bodybuilding lifestyle, which was really tough at the time. Then 2025 came around and I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel a bit more myself and actually feel okay, yeah, let's try and get myself back into the mindset of being a bodybuilder, tracking and doing all the athlete things. And then I think it hit me all of a sudden in August last year. And I was like, Jamie, I'm ready. I'm ready. And you were like, right, great. Let's start it. Let's go. And not a case of ready to prep, but it was just ready to work towards something again, towards bodybuilding. And then once we did, it was I was like, oh, wow, results after results after results. And it was just continuous. And I was like, cool. Now I have a completely different perspective on how I look at bodybuilding. And it's just, it's been amazing, honestly. It's been the best experience.
I think it was funny, our conversation we had yesterday when I told you, I promise you this is going to be, you're going to love this prep. And you're red flag.
I was like, that's, when you you see explain things that are red flags to for coaches and stuff. When coaches promise you something before they've actually delivered it, Jamie was like, this is going to be completely different. I promise you. And I was like, surely that's not something you should do. But I was like, I do trust her. I think she'll be amazing at what she does. And I completely vouch for what you said, 100% times two now, because I just didn't see how it would be different though, because I've done this, obviously, this will be 10 years for me competing. Literally Arnold's weekend is the 10th year of me competing, which is very super special for me. But I was I don't see how it can be much different where every prep's not been the same, but it's been obviously, the process and all that type of thing. And I think obviously previous preps were so hard. I just didn't want to go through that again without enjoying the process. Like I needed, that was my forefront of everything. I was like, I need to enjoy the process. And enjoying the process doesn't mean like, I need to have like no cardio and I need to have like pizza and do all these things. Like it's not, I'm not scared of the grind, the push, but it's for me is wanting to actually do that. Like we all have to do the things we don't want to do sometimes, but like the results we get after then doing it are very like, oh, I don't mind doing it. Does that make sense? And
it very much makes sense. I think, when it's like anything that you want really in life that's challenging, there's going to be days that you don't feel like doing something or it's hard. And I think, knowing that and kind of going into that is very different than that burnout feeling of.
I literally wake up and I do not want to do anything bodybuilder. And like that's was so strong for me in 2024 prep, and then going the whole of 2024 was kind of like that, if I'm honest. And for me, I just didn't want that. And I think we did sometimes we tried to do a little bit of like a little bit of a recomp in 2024. And I remember I was like, I don't want to. Like I feel like I'm then getting that feeling of like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to track. It's a lot in my brain. Like it still feels like hard, which sounds so silly complaining about it because
it's not silly at all.
Yeah.
And we need to, we got, so you guys got into your groove and I didn't want to interrupt.
I was thinking, when's Greg going to chime in?
We forgot. And I'll be honest with you.
We forgot your check-in word.
That's right. And
that's what something I was like, they do something
before we got on camera today, I was like, do I really even need to be here? Because I'm around these two and they're like, I love the conversation. I love to hear it, but it's like, okay,
we're excited.
And
we just keep going.
That's what I'm really relishing in is the energy thing, which I do want to talk about something with that. But let's do your check-in word first, and just how are you feeling?
I think grateful is definitely the word, because like when I got here, I think I had a moment on the plane on my 26-hour flight, by the way. Everyone's always like, oh, I can't do like more than 5. And I'm like, guys, you need to travel more, because like 26 hours is like,
you're like 5 is a walk in the park.
That's a day.
5 is, that's not even how long it takes me to get back to the UK. It takes about 6 or 7. So like from Dubai. So I'm like, oh, that's like easy 6 or 7. That's fine. But yeah, it was a long flight. But like when I was sat on the plane, I was like, oh wow, like this is like, last time I was obviously like coming here, obviously it was a very different story, and it just feels nice it being like, or grateful for it being back in my passion again. And I don't think the passion ever left, but I think it was just dimmed a little bit. And when you just
hibernating.
lose, yeah, I like that. It was hibernating. And I think the thing is, I think what kept it going as well was obviously me, posing all my girls, being able to, and to be fair, I do very much, like the last 2 years, I honor so much, and I've enjoyed so much because I've been able to work with so many different people like Amy. I've been able to work with multiple pros that have given me the experience of being a better business person, coach itself. So like it's all happened for a reason, and I'm grateful for that. But it's nice now that it's my turn. So I'm excited.
We got into this debate yesterday. I don't think it happened for a reason. I think you made the reason happen.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that's I get in debates with people who are destiny people, and that's fine. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying I really believe that you get the choice to put purpose in what you do. And I did want to say one thing about the check-in word. Everybody does the check-in word and they like, oh, I don't know how I'm feeling. It's like, you don't have to know how you're feeling, but you can set the intention for what you want it to be for the day. So, but I wanted to go back to something with this because I've been thinking a lot about this journey that you've been on and how different it has been, both from a process and approach point of view, but also from a mindset point of view. And I think there's this really interesting aspect of what's transpired is that, so this prep and this journey that you've been on has really been more process focused. Like you worked on the mind, you got the mind right, then you started working on the process piece and the macros and the tracking. And not that you couldn't do that, but mindset wise, you needed to fix your mind first before it could embrace those pieces. And then the prep has gone just like flawlessly and exceeds expectations. The difference here is that I think every prep you've had, and I may be wrong on this, was directed towards a specific outcome, a specific goal, a specific show. This one was really focused on getting you healthy, body, heart, soul, mind, all that aspect of it. And then the interesting thing happened is you got the big payoff, meaning that you got that your first show back is like a legacy show for you, the show where,
On the date you started your
on the
first.
day
I know,
you started,
which is so
right?
good. I love it.
And I think, I think about that payoff is that we talk about this all the time, is that you've got to do things for the joy of doing them, or the monotony of doing things. And you said something else before, which is champions do the things that most people are unwilling to do, because it is that monotony, is that repetitiveness, the habits and everything. So you did that, but there's a point where you need to back away from that because it can be all consuming.
Yeah.
And you did that.
Yeah.
And then you came back and you focused solely on process. And then what happened?
Yeah.
An outcome that wasn't planned. It was wanted. It was hoped for. But you can't plan.
I planned it.
Well, I know. Jamie visioned it, and
I
Jamie
said to
planned
Jamie
it.
as well
I know.
yesterday. She was like, "Oh, I knew that was happening." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Hopefully I'll get it." She was like, "No, you're getting it." I was like, "Okay." Yeah.
And she was, and she's a crazy manifester and everything. But I think from your standpoint, the you've been around the sport long enough to know that you can't count on those things. And that was not the reason that you were doing it. You were doing it to rebuild your love of this sport. And I think there's such beauty in that transformation that's been more than just how your body has responded. It's been, when you get your mind right, the body's going to follow. And we talk about that a lot. And you're the poster child.
Yeah, I think for me, like, especially when I first got into it, obviously I was 20 when I got into it, which for some people seem that as like not older, but like some people now are getting into it at like 17, 18. So like people are coming into it a lot younger. But I feel like when you first start, you'll do anything you can to succeed. And I think that's a good mindset to do. But then also as you get older, that starts to fade very quickly. So like doing everything and anything, like pushing yourself to the point where you're then going to probably take it 2 years off or however long, or maybe not even like the sport anymore because you had that big push, sometimes is not worth it. And I think it was like literally a moment, it was backstage. I always remember this. She probably doesn't remember it, but I was backstage and I asked Sandy at the Arnold UK, I was like, there's literally a show in like 3 weeks time. Do I keep pushing? My goal was to just keep pushing and do another show, obviously get qualified for Olympia. I was so tired at that point, but I was like, if she says like, take time off, like, or no, do another show, like I'll keep going. She literally just went, you're tired. Like, I can tell, like you're tired. I think you just need time. And I was like, thank you for like almost like releasing me from like me just because otherwise I just would have kept going. I probably would have just been like, suck it up, keep going, keep pushing and like do what you need to do. But she kind of just was like, she gave me that perspective of like, you're tired, like you could be better. And I think you just need your time off. Like, she didn't say that, but I think that was a hint to that. So, and
she spoke to what you already knew internally, like what your body and your mind were already.
I wanted that time, but I don't think I would have given myself that time because I would have just been like, no, just keep going. Like you gotta keep going and just keep pushing and stuff like that. And again, that mindset can only like serve your purpose so long before you do have that massive burnout. And it's nice because I say nice, but like I've seen a lot of people kind of now express their kind of like journeys as well with being burnt out either within bodybuilding or something else. And taking that time away isn't looked upon as like a bad thing anymore. Where I think before it was never a bad thing, but I think you felt like the rewards you would be pushed back because the sport is obviously ever growing and growing, but you will then feel like, okay, well, I'm behind if I come back. And to be fair, to some degree, I kind of felt like that as well. Like I kept on being like, I'm not big enough. Like these girls have changed like so much in the last like 2 years, but like she was like, they haven't changed, but like they are just getting better in terms of evolution. And that's also great. And exactly
the quality
why
does keep
exactly. It starts getting better. And that's also exactly why, one, I wanted to do the Arnolds because I was like, if I could get in and just straight away get up against the best of the best, like, so be it. And I can literally be like, what do I need to work on after being 2 years away? And then we can take the rest of the season from there and actually make those, like, decisions and what we need to change. So I think for me, the process was very much like, I need to enjoy it because I'm 30 now, which isn't old by any way, but like, I want to enjoy what I'm doing. Like I enjoyed the 2 years off, like going out and doing fun things, traveling, like growing my business. And I really enjoyed that. I was like, I want to still have that enjoyment and not yes, I will sacrifice things. Like there's things that I'll have to sacrifice in a prep, but why do I have to sacrifice everything?
Right.
Like even this morning when I was talking to you about my hair, I was saying like, I want to get better at taking care of myself and looking after myself. But when you're in prep and you're tired and, energy's low, it's very easy to just shove, some baggy clothes on, shove your hair up and just not care. And I was like, I want to care though. Like I want to care, but the energy sometimes on a prep is like, it makes it hard to care, So like little things like that, this prep has been crazy. Like traveling 26 hours, everyone's like, how are you doing that? And I'm like, because I can. Like honestly, because I can, I have the energy to, and like that's down to the prep itself. So yeah.
As you're talking, I'm thinking about, to me, like a big part of this and what I hear a lot of you saying is like finding balance even within the imbalance of this lifestyle, right? Because it is an extreme lifestyle that we live. And I think about the off time, and you still did keep checking in. And it wasn't perfect, right? There were some weeks that we did and some weeks we did. And the communication of us building on what is working for you right now. So maybe that meant tracking 3 to 5 days a week.
And we did do that as well. And even check-ins, I was like, I feel like I don't need to check in like every week. And I feel like, for me, I felt sometimes, some weeks I would literally be like, I feel like I'm wasting your time because I'm just telling you the same thing. Like I don't feel good at where I'm at in terms of, not progress as such, but I was like, I don't feel like I've done much this week. So you were like, okay, let's just bring it to 2 then. Like just bring it to 2 weeks and then you can kind of keep doing it and then there'll be more to kind of update me on anyway.
Right.
So that's fine. And I was like, okay, cool, that's fine. And I think the best thing about like this experience, obviously working with you has been, you have been adaptable. Don't get me wrong, I'm not uncoachable to anyone listening.
Oh no, not at all. Not
Quite
at all.
the contrary, no.
But part of it is like during a lifestyle season, which is what we started in, is and it's interesting because I think sometimes as athletes we have a hard time transitioning to a lifestyle season and realizing the point of it is having more flexibility.
Yeah.
And so and that flexibility needs to look like what you need.
Yeah.
So then being able to communicate, here's what I think would work for me, or here's what's not working, and then get a proposal of how would this work for you. And so I feel like that was really important for us to build the trust and build the foundation, then to go into the prep where now you're of course checking in right on time every single time, and everything is, everything is more structured. But even within that, how do we then create a little bit of flexibility as well? So like you had some free calories to work with on the.
They're great. We planned them. Well, we didn't even plan them, but the way that they've executed has been great. Had obviously the 500 calories on Christmas Day, and then the same on the first day of the year. So it was nice just being able to have that kind of like flexibility with friends, family, stuff like that as well, which again makes the process really nice. Then the body responds great. There's no stress. Like it just has all gone so smooth. Like everyone's like, how's it been? And I'm like, no complaints. Like every part of this journey from like 2 years ago to now has been like needed. All of it's been needed.
Very intentional and very like what it needed to be at the moment. Like you said, and I do feel like I like to bring this up because I think that sometimes people are afraid to communicate what they need. Yeah. And
they get scared of being that's why I said uncoachable. So like I think athletes have the perspective of, pros and stuff like that have the perspective of like, we're all the same. We do everything the same. We check in, we follow our plans, we're regimented, and that's it. And I'm like, no one lives like that. Like no one, even the top of the top, no one lives like that. Like we like to enjoy life. We like to go out and have fun and experience the world, experiences and stuff like that. And I think when you do that, sometimes it can be looked upon as like, oh, you're not that serious. And I'm like, we're just as serious, but we also can have that external, like you say, balance. But then again, on the flip side, when you say balance, people think, oh, it's again, not serious or too flexible, or like you should be very regimented in a routine and stuff like that. These
are the stories that we tell ourselves. Yeah. And this is this is why everything always goes back to mindset, is that if you're operating for, and the one thing I do, you said uncoachable, and I'm glad that you made that point, because expressing what you need as an athlete, expressing what you need as a person is the opposite of being uncoachable. Right. What I will tell you as uncoachable is when people do things and they don't tell you about it. Yeah. When people are feeling a certain way and they don't tell you about it. When people are having these thoughts, feelings, responses, behaviors, and then they either hide that because of shame or because they're telling themselves the story of, oh, I'm less than, or I'm not, good. No, we can deal with whatever problems we communicate. But if you don't communicate those problems, you don't communicate where you are, then you are absolutely uncoachable. That's how I would define uncoachable.
No, well, when we first started, that was something I struggled with you, to try to have that communication, because I was like, because I'm going through this process of, I don't enjoy anything you're giving me, like, unfortunately. And that's not you either. That's just me. And I felt bad about that. I was like, I feel bad that you're saying, let's do this, let's do that. And I'm like, I can't connect with it. And not because it's the plan you're giving me, but because the mindset we were at. And I think when we started together, I think I knew this was going to work so well, because I was like, you're patient. You're patient with me, and you're not giving me, you're not.
They weren't directives. They were collaborative.
Yes.
It was like, part of collaboration. Do this,
do that. And I'm not saying you aren't that, but
she can be when it's needed.
That's what I mean.
When it needs to be.
When it needs to be. And that's you're adaptable. And I think that was something I needed in that moment. People were always like, I think obviously when I first, switched, we literally kept it secret for like a year. But then obviously to my close friends and people were asking, they were like, oh, who are you with? And I was like, FitBody Fusion with Jamie and stuff like that. And they were like, okay, why is that? And I was like, I think I went to her because I feel like I needed that energy of care, like that attention to the mindset I'm in at the moment. And I know I'm quite fragile with where I'm at the moment in terms of when I came to you guys at 2024, I was like, I think if I went to the, say, wrong person or someone that was different, I think I would not be bodybuilding anymore.
And I do want to touch on that one part, which is so much of what we talk about is that story we tell ourselves of what our vision of what is a champion, strict, rigid, all these things. And man, I just think that's I think that's an antiquated view, and I think that's something that's popularized by Instagram, where you see people doing these extreme things, and it builds this mental vision or mental view of, well, this is what it takes to achieve. And there are aspects of that are correct, that it does require some of those things, but that's not the only story. And if you're into, and this folds into the scarcity versus abundance mindset, is that if you're always thinking about what you can't do, then you're not focused on what you can do. And that's a huge mental shift for people, because when you are consistently operating from a mindset of scarcity, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. Psychologically, over time,
it wears you down.
Exactly, it exhausts you.
Will.
Instead of saying, you know what? I choose to do this. I choose to do this. I want to do this. I can do this. I get to do this. Right? When you change that narrative in your head, and the other part that is this comparison game piece that really falls in is that you look at other people, and I mean, it's normal. I mean, you're going to see people, but you're looking at other people, and especially not stage stuff. That stuff is what it is. And you're going to look at that, but it's like people will post their progress pics. People will post their progress aspects of how their prep is, and I'm eating tilapia and rice every day, or whatever they're doing.
Or on the flip side, sometimes when people are on really high calories and people are like, well, I'm not on that, so does that mean like I'm failing?
Exactly.
And like it's not always the way.
Well, it's not relevant.
No.
It's not relevant to you and your journey, because what matters is what you need, not what somebody else needs, not where they're at.
Someone else is posting on Instagram, because
Yeah.
that's the other thing.
It's also, the thing is though, you can be intrigued. So I think people's answer to that is always like, shut everyone out and don't like look at anyone. And I'm like, but you don't want to live a life and be like scared to go online and look at people's things. And like, I see some girls and I ask questions. Like I'll be like, oh, okay. So like, what are you doing this time around versus this time? And not to know and be like, oh, this is what I'm doing, so I'm going to compare. But you have to be in a mindset to then take that information in and be like, okay, like she's doing that. So like potentially like, when I'm in a position to do that, potentially we can kind of go from here, or like that's something I can work towards later on, or like, but the perspective of how you take that information in needs to be different versus
you've got to really set that intentional mindset looking at it, is that, okay, I'm going to look at Instagram today. And what I know a lot of people don't do is you can set a timer and say, okay, I'm going to spend no more than, 20 minutes on Instagram.
He's talking about himself.
And I'm actually really good. I only screen, you'd be surprised. I'm not on
don't
Instagram
on
you.
Hole.
But it's easy to get on. But if you set yourself a timer, and the other part is just being able to, okay, I'm going to look at something, and rather than just looking at it and then scrolling to the next story, I'm going to look at something that may be impacting me, and taking that moment to reframe whatever it is that you're thinking based on what you see. So if I'm on there and I see another athlete whose calories are twice what my calories are, they're at the same distance out from the show or whatever, and in that moment where I'm feeling like, oh my God, why am I not here, or what am I not doing? Take that moment, whether you journal, whether you just put the phone down for a minute, and reframe that and saying, look, I'm on my path. This is my path, my journey. I'm choosing to do what I need to do that is best for my body in this moment. And then you can pick the phone up and
then you move on.
And I just don't. I know people don't do that.
No, or say, good for you, girl, amazing.
Yes,
scroll, move
exactly.
on, and that's it. Because I feel like, again, it's like we'll take it in and. Again, like you said, have to then reflect on us, but we can also be happy for that person as well.
Yeah.
Amazing, great, you've absolutely smashed it. Like, move on, that's it. And it doesn't need to take up space in your head anymore. Like, it doesn't need to consume, like, every part of someone else's journey doesn't need to reflect. But I mean, it's also good because if you get a feeling about it, like if you get jealous or if you get some form of way or like I wish I was on that, okay, then reflect. But I think if it doesn't affect you that much, move on.
Right.
Like, scroll, done, that's it.
I feel like you're such a good example of that. And I feel like that's why so many people do love you so much, is you truly are such an ambassador. And I know that your support of the other women in this sport comes from a very genuine place.
Yeah.
Like, it gets me like emotional because I just really admire that so much in you. And I feel like I want more people to embrace that it's not an all or none thing, because it's not that you're not a fierce competitor.
No.
You are.
Oh, no.
You're a fierce competitor, and I know how dedicated you are. Like, getting to do this prep with you, like, I see how dedicated you are. Like, it's really cool to get to go through this.
Yeah.
And it's not an all or none. You can be a fierce competitor and a dedicated person, and at the same time, put the crown on the other person and be happy for them and be proud of them. And you know what I mean? So it's not always an easy thing to do.
No, but it's been, that's what I mean. Like that time off has been so nice to be able to then allow myself to have that, like, for the other girls. And like, I have a lot of people, to pose and to get to know people more and like get people's trust and like experience their journey. And that's what I think has also helped me. Like, I kept on texting you, I think literally like summer last year. I was like, I need to be on stage like ASAP, because I'm getting so jealous of everyone being at all these shows, being at Tampa, being at like everywhere. And I was like, that's what I love, like, seeing. And I think that's also kept the passion alive. I think if I didn't see that or like be excited for that part of it, then I don't think, again, another reason I feel like I probably wouldn't return back to the stage. So I think it's all happened when it's needed to. So like, obviously you said before, like, oh, we were maybe going to compete at the end of 2025. But again, that was a case of if my head was ready, if my mind was ready, like, we could have, like, if we wanted to, we probably could have pushed, like, the way my body was kind of like working and stuff. But I was like, I think taking this time, like, to be literally like so like slow with it, it's doing my mind the best, and then my body's responding so well from that. So I think that's we've done everything. It's all fallen into place. Right. I think honestly, it's all timed very well, and like, it feels really good to just be in a place where I'm at now.
Yeah, so I totally agree. I'm pumped at the Arnold.
I'm so excited.
To me, I wouldn't want to start it any other way.
No, honestly,
it was really funny when I first started hearing people like, "Oh, that's ballsy."
Yeah, everyone said that's so ballsy, and I was like, "Well, it is," but also like, it's not. Like, it's really not that big a deal. Like, this will be my third Arnold's, but fourth invite for the US Arnold's. Mm-hmm. So like, for me, I love this show. Like, I love the Arnold show. Like, and I love the, not the tightness, but like the not segregation, that's the wrong word, but like
It's a smaller number.
yeah,
Yes.
it's a small. I love the
It's a smaller
intimacy
sample
of it.
size.
Intimacy.
Yeah, that's a good word. The
Intimacy,
intimacy
good
of
word,
the
yeah.
show, like, and it just it's such a like spectacular show. So I'm excited for it to be our first show, and then just the package we're bringing in. Like literally, every time I look at myself, I'm literally like, what? How have we got here? Like with what I'm doing and how my prep has been. Like it just has been so like. I say easy because honestly it has been. Like it's not been a second thought in my head where, I need to do this or I need to do that. It's just flowed, which is exactly what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And
But
it
when
needed
you're in
to
that
have
flow
that
state
balance.
though,
Yeah.
right? It does become easy. It does become easy because it becomes something that your mind is wrapped around.
Yeah.
And again, I hate to keep hitting, well, I don't hate to keep hitting this because I do think this is really so important, is that when your mind is right, your body's right.
Yeah.
And we've seen this at shows where people get into their heads and, the cortisol, the inflammation, the self-doubt, the self-sabotage. And I mean, actively you're not thinking about sabotaging yourself, but effectively that's what happens is when your mind is not right, the body won't be right.
Yeah.
So
I think self-sabotage is a very good word because I do think that a lot of people, if you really deep a lot of things, people go through within a prep and obviously post-show, or even not post-show, but like before the show and stuff like that, pre-show, I think people don't realize how much self-sabotage there is in the sport within themselves, like not without doing it. And that can come down
subconsciously,
to
unconsciously, yeah.
Yeah, and that can come down to not even like cheating on the diet, for example, but like obviously, again, the way that they talk to themselves, like before you go on stage, like I always say to my girls, like you have to literally tell yourself, I've done everything I can to get to this point. There's nothing I can change now. So you may as well just go out there and, serve everything you need to serve. Like pose correctly, do everything you need to, no doubt, just all confidence because you've done everything you need to. So there's no need to, obviously it's easier said than done, but you have to tell yourself that so you can then go on to process that. If you tell yourself before stepping on stage, like, I look like shit, I feel like I'm worried about my walk, I'm worried about this, worried about that, most of the time that's going to then come true. That you're then going to fuck up your walk and then you're going to not hit the front post correctly and then you're going to feel off and then there's loads of things running through your head and you sabotage yourself without even meaning to.
Interested in changing your life or stepping on stage? Join FitBody Fusion today.
Experience the FitBody Fusion difference with tools, knowledge, and community support to reach your healthy and sustainable lifestyle.
We guide thousands on their fitness journeys, from seasoned athletes to those who are simply seeking a healthier life.
Our expert coaches provide personalized plans and unwavering support, empowering you to thrive.
FitBody Fusion is more than just training. It's a community. We understand the challenges of solo fitness journeys, which is why we foster a supportive environment where members encourage and motivate each other.
Join the FitBody Fusion community today and unlock your full potential.
Head to fitbodyfusion.com to sign up for a free consultation.
And do it today.
Well, the judges can see on your
they
face
can.
immediately when you step on the stage where your head is at.
Yeah.
Like it's very hard to hide that. So you're right, like controlling what's in your mind when you do that, I think is so crucial. Because like you said, it's either going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I'm focusing on my walk's going to be bad, then my walk's going to be bad. If I'm focused on, I did everything I could, I feel amazing, I can't wait to show everybody all my hard work, and that's what your face is showing, then the judges, it's like almost like, there's those people that look so uncomfortable that you almost don't want to watch them because they're so uncomfortable, it's making you uncomfortable. Versus when somebody goes out and they look like they're having the time of their life.
Honestly, most of the time, if you don't feel confident, I say fake it till you make it. Because confidence, honestly, the judges won't know the difference between fake confidence and real confidence anyway. So
like you put the thoughts.
But the thought, just push them to the side for like 2 minutes. Literally, you've got 2 minutes. That's all you probably will be on stage. It'll be a couple of minutes. Like just push that to the side and then proceed, and that's it. But I think also on the flip side, the judges don't see as much as you also think in terms of like, oh my God, I had a big trip, or I did this, and I'm like,
the judges, it's so big and it's like a tiny,
so much bigger than it actually is.
But if you're thinking about that, if that's your dominant thought,
and then
that's what the judges are going to see.
Yeah.
When you say, easier said than done, it is easier said than done because most people don't work at it.
Yeah.
And you go into the gym and you think of how many repetitions of hip thrusts you've done over the last year. Okay. How many repetitions of kickbacks or whatever, pick the exercise, right?
Yeah.
How many meals have you prepped? And you think about the constant iteration, repetitions you've gotten those. Now, ask yourself this question. How many times you practice posing? Okay. Now, how many times have you practiced and worked on your mindset?
Yeah.
And I don't mean just doing it by watching a podcast or
No,
how many
that's
times have
not-
you actually sat down with yourself, with your thoughts, whether it's pen and paper or something else, and really just focused on your mindset and working on that. And I do think this is the biggest gap of, and we can add this to the fifth dysfunction of bikini competitors to Drew's list is mindset is everything. Mindset is everything for prep, but mindset also affects you on stage. Is how are you viewing yourself? Are you white knuckling it on stage because you want to win so bad? Or are you embracing the work that you invested in yourself and that's coming through in your confidence? 100% believe in the fake it till you make it. And people always I used to have this discussion with employees at a place I worked where I was coaching, and I would say, well, if you want to be a leader, you got to fake it till you make it. And they said, well, isn't that inauthentic? And I said, absolutely not.
No.
If there's something you want to embrace in your personality, the best way to get there is to fake it and model that behavior until it becomes part of you.
Yeah.
If it's authentically coming from you and a change that you want to induce in yourself, then that's authentic.
Yeah.
Embrace that authenticity until that behavior, confidence in this context, becomes you.
It's the same as like, training or cardio. Like not everyone wants to train all the time.
Right.
So does that mean like I'm faking it that I want to train? Like no, but like I don't want to do it all the time.
Right.
Of course, like there's going to be times where I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to do this, but then that's not inauthentic of me to then
To still do it.
To still do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think that's something that also needs to definitely be worked on. I think just across the board in terms of like, not just mindset in general, but I think, mainly mindset, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's that whole motivation versus discipline
Right.
question.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's really important too. I kind of wanted to get into too, like, I know like we haven't changed a lot. So like the actual like execution of what this prep has
prep
been
has
like
been-
and kind of how that's different and
Yeah.
love to hear you talk a little bit, from
No, of
nutrition,
course.
training, all of that.
yeah, of course. Well, I mean, obviously people are like, how have you gone from like doing high rocks literally like what, last year to like now back to where you kind of were? And I think previously before, if no
You're
one
not
knows.
back to where you were.
Better.
You're better.
I'm better.
Okay, sorry.
I knew. I was waiting. I was like, I'm better. I know that. But yeah, obviously 2024, I kind of was just experimenting with just what I wanted to do with fitness wise in general. So like, I think post Arnold 2024, I was like, I don't want to do, hypertrophy training. Like I don't want to hit hip thrusts. I don't want to shoulder press. Anything I'm trying to do, I just feel it's just not connecting. I don't want to do it. And again, it's not the want to do, like, I know I have to do things that I don't want to do, but I think in this mind, this is what I need to love this again. This part, like the process I was speaking about before. So I was like, okay, what am I drawn to? And it randomly was like running and, functional fitness. And I was enjoying doing the classes. And I think it wasn't the classes itself at the beginning, but I think it was the enjoyment I got with going with friends and enjoying that experience in general. Like it was fun to do. It felt different as well. I think that was what I was more drawn to than the actual being running. Because people are like, why are you running? Like that's so so random. Like why would you voluntarily do cardio? And I'm like, it's not like the cardio aspect. It's like the going to the run club, enjoying again the moment of enjoying it. And I really loved that. I really did. And then I think over time, then the competitiveness started to kick in. And one of my friends that we were kind of both the same. She has competed a few times, but she was like, I like competitiveness, but like, I don't know what we could do. And I was like, let's do a high rocks as a joke. And then we ended up training for it to give us something to work towards. Because again, we kind of got to the point where we were like, we enjoy this now. We kind of feel like we've gotten good at it, but we want some form of goal aspect to it. So like, again, you were really patient with me when I was going through all of this. You were like, okay, so if you do your, high rocks training, and then at least just get 2 weight sessions in a week, 1 upper body, 1 lower body, that's perfect. We'll set you these calories. Again, if you want to hit calories, because I know we experimented with so many different things. And I think I've actually lost track on what we were doing in some parts. I think I remember you were like, right, I'll give you a calorie target. Just hit the calories. Like you don't think about, like obviously, yes, hit more protein, but try and hit those calories and kind of see where you fall. I was like, okay, cool. Now I feel like I can kind of hit the macro side of things. So let's do that. Then we did that. And then after the high rocks in April 2025, I was like, cool, let's now actually recomp. Like I feel like in a really good place with, fitness, bodybuilding and stuff like that. I want to still make sure I'm putting on good amount of size, progress, and progressing towards the sport and stuff like that. So I think it took a good, at least 9 months to get me there. So I think after the Arnold's 2025, after I saw you guys, I was like, I love this. I do love this sport. Like, I think I don't not love what the sport has brought me, but I think I just needed to not exhaust it from all angles, you know? Like, I think bodybuilding can give you so much, but it can also take just as much as well if you allow it to. So I think, and I mean, that's not just bodybuilding, but just anything in general.
Sure.
Like, that's anything in life. So I think for me, I'd taken way too much from it and it's taken too much from me. So I was like, I need now just time away from it. So that's fine. And I felt that in April come back was like, yeah, you're ready, like, to kind of get back into it again. So that took a while.
How did you do in the high rocks, by the way?
Oh, we got 118. So we did it in pairs. We did like so with high rocks, you don't like get first, second, third, fourth, whatever. You just get a time. So you get the time and then you can, obviously, if you're an elite of the elite, then you obviously get very fast time and then you get podiums. We were nowhere near that, but it was fun to do it. And like for our first one especially, like it was good. So I enjoyed it. And we could definitely have pushed harder, but that will be for another time, of course. Not now. I'll message Jamie and be like, by the way, I've signed myself up for a high rocks in like July. And she'll be like,
Not soon.
Absolutely not. She's like, not in 2026. No, thank you very much. So
I gotta draw the line somewhere.
Yeah, she's like, no, I'm gonna say no to this one. Absolutely not. But yeah, so I feel like that was really great. And then obviously, I think then the rest of 2025 was then like, right, I do think my mind's right now. Let's kind of push towards that. And I think, yeah, there was very much still some up and downs and stuff, and we're still trying to find things. And I think for me, I've never macro tracked before. So like, I think a lot of people before were like, oh yeah, you know about macros and this and that. And I was like, this is hard. Like, it's a lot harder than you think to track and do everything.
It's language.
And
Initially, right?
For me, it was more so, again, it was more to think about. So I had to wrap my head around wanting to do that again. So again, I had to want to do that because I do think that macro tracking is harder than a meal plan because you can just meal plan, you do the meals and that's it. And you don't have to think about the stuff. Whereas macros, again, you could do the same, but you have to ultimately input it, think about things. And there's other things that you then have to like kind of have in control and stuff as well. And that's what I struggled with at the beginning.
And I will add one thing. Yeah, it is harder at the outset because it's like language. You're building a new language.
Yeah.
The benefit of it beyond just the flexibility is that as you do it over time, like Jamie did it for so long that she can still look at, I mean, when was the last time you tracked?
For myself,
Yeah.
I can't
Long
remember.
time.
Yeah.
Long time.
She's like,
Years.
long time.
Yeah. But she can still look at a plate and basically identify the contents of that
Yes.
plate
Yeah.
just because of the macro. Because of how indoctrinated
Because of the
she
time
got.
I spent.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
you spent. So what I would say about macros versus meal plans, yes, I 100% agree. Meal plans are easier, but they are not sustainable.
The benefits
And
you get from
yes.
tracking are, that's what I was gonna say, the benefits from tracking is so much higher. And I think I didn't know that until I then had it. And again, not bashing meal plans at all because
No.
I'm
They have
basically
a
eating,
place.
yeah, I'm basically eating also the same foods as well. But the facts of me being able to have, again, that slight flexibility, and it's not always about that either, but it's allowing my body to not just be susceptible to one thing, which I've realized, like, I can actually have quite a few things and my body's fine with it. Like, my body's not as intolerant as I thought it was. So there's certain foods that I can have and still be fine with it, and everything's,
And I feel like that
digestible and
decreases
stuff.
burnout.
Yes, exactly that, 100%. And that's what I kept, the amount of times I kept messaging you being like, are you sure I can have bread still? Like, and she's like, that's fine. Like, even today, like this weekend, I was like, are you sure I can have this? And she's like, yeah, like, have whatever you need.
What was this?
And
It was a bagel.
yeah, the bagel.
bagel.
I was like, it's higher in carb, but like, and because you guys from the US, your bagels are huge. Like, we don't have like the calories
those are small for the ones
well,
we.
that's what I mean. So like, but they're higher in carb. So I was like, this is a lot of carb, and like it's a bigger portion, whatever. But again, I've had bread the whole time. Like, so like surely it's fine. And I asked you, and you're like, yeah, that's fine. Like, have a bagel, it's okay. And I'm like, this is it. It's mind blowing to me because obviously. And not before I wasn't so restricted before where it was like, I can't have anything. It wasn't like that, but it was you have a meal plan, that's it, and that's all you have. And again, that's the whole point of a meal plan. But I do think that having that flexibility has then allowed me to, again, enjoy myself, have like a good amount of progress within it, enjoy the process. And again, that's not me just being like, oh, I can have bagels and prep, so it's so easy. But like, again, it falls into everything else. Like we were mentioning, like you then have a little less stress because you can have a few things that you would like to have. And then ultimately, like my body's not intolerant to bread, or you realize that there's a lot of foods out there that you can have, and it's not like, oh no, you can't have that, that's bad. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to track pizza and like have all these things as extras for like my meal plan stuff, because then over time what I've noticed is, okay, now there's some foods that I've swapped out because, say for example, the bagel takes up I think it was 250 calories or something like that. I could have something that is, again, smaller carb, and then put those carbs in my pre-workout before, which is what I was doing before. But then for me, I like that mindset now where I know I need to do that. Whereas before it was like, okay, I have meal 1, meal 2. Oh, I'm still tired now. Now I can play around with food because I need more food at this time. Like it makes you aware of your body. And I think
you start to make choices because it's the right choice. So
Yes.
this is one of the things I noticed when I started doing macros, is that I started to make better choices. The meal plan is got a structure and it's got a place. But let's say the time of my workout has to change because something changed in my schedule. Well, now I have a very strict meal plan. But like what you're describing is that, I realized that my energy is a little bit better if I shift this just a little bit, or my day changed because I'm traveling, or a time zone changed, or whatever.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you have this ability to kind of make things work a little bit better for what your body's. You're still hitting, you're very consistent. Like you're hitting your numbers every day. You're doing such a great job. So I think people understanding like it's flexibility, but it's flexibility within
what
a
you
plan.
have.
Right.
Yeah, what you have. And I think that's something I didn't get it until, like, even I was saying to people, like, oh, I'm macro tracking now. They're like, oh, I could never do that. Like, that's way too flexible for me. And I'm like, I honestly used to have that mindset as well. Like, it's way too flexible. Like, I don't know if I could trust myself with it or whatever. But you then, because you had, say, for example, some of my preps, I had Biscoff. I remember I added it in I had a high day. So I was like, oh, I'm going to have a bit of Biscoff. I was like, oh, maybe I won't have that like anymore or whatever. But I kept on progressing. I was like, do I need to take it out? And you were like, no, like you're fine. And just because of that,
we're dropping 1.5 pounds or more a week. It's like, no, you're good.
It was 10 grams of Biscoff on like a bit of bread before my pre-workout with some banana and stuff instead of peanut butter. And I had that. And again, having that tiny little bit of like Biscoff, again, didn't serve anything, but because I could have it, I didn't want you don't want anything else. I'm not saying that I was going to then go cheat on my diet anyway, but you then have that kind of little, oh, that's nice to have that. And then not even food focused or thinking about anything else because you're like, well, I'm happy with my plan. Like, it's not like I'm craving or wanting anything else anyway. And I think that, like you said before, that creates sustainability within bodybuilding. But I do think that this is also, it's not new, but I think it's definitely a new mindset for a lot of people in the bodybuilding realm, which I think moving forwards, people will realize like, oh, it's not like, hardcore chicken and rice and like having to die all the time, especially if you're a bikini athlete and stuff. But again, because the sport is, again, mainly male dominant, and a lot of the guys that, show up and stuff have that mindset, which again, they have to have that for their division. It doesn't mean everyone has to as well though.
Right. What's interesting is, to me, and I always think people will sometimes say, oh, Jamie's athletes are competing so much and this and that.
Because they can. Honestly, I can vouch for that because they fucking can.
That's the difference.
And I said to you in the car, I used to look up to like Amy, oh my God, my brain's just gone now, Alice, like all these girls. I was like, I could never be them. And now I'm like, I could actually be one of them. Like I could happily compete all year and like do all of this because I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to compete that much and still have, cognitive function and like still give up, 100%, not 100%, but I'm sure I could definitely still give 100% to my business and all these things without sacrificing everything. And I'm like, yeah, they can. Like they honestly can.
Right.
And it's insane to have that and be like, wow, like, wow, like that's all I have. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't know what else to say to that, because that's literally how I feel. I'm like, wow,
and
it's
sometimes
crazy.
it's like just knowing where to be more strict and knowing where you can cut a little slack. And, and each prep is different. Each person's journey is different, and their genetics are different. Like some people have a faster metabolism, some people have higher hunger. Like there's always things that we're working with. But as a coach, to me, what I'm looking at is how can I make this as sustainable as possible, so you're enjoying the process, still getting the results. But then you're not feeling burned out. Like, oh my God, I need a break so bad. I feel like I've been in prep forever, and I'm, I'm exhausted, so tired and miserable, and that kind of thing. And so, like you said, like if it means having a little bit of Biscoff, or it means,
which is, I saw my friend and she was like, you're having Biscoff in prep? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I'm having like 10 grams. She was like, that's nothing. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not the point of like, oh, I get to have sweet things, or I get to have whatever. It's like, it's just the fact that I wanted that, I had that, I still got the results. So it's not like diminishing that thing and then being like fixated on that one thing of like, I really want Biscoff, I really want this. And then it being a whole separate thing in itself. And again, that then, I think people think, oh yeah, then that's discipline though. You put it to the side, but the fact that like I could have it was fine. But again, not everyone is going to also be like that. So I'm not saying like
right. Everybody's
you have to
different.
Have Biscoff in your prep and like you
of course, it's different for everybody. And that's the thing is too. I think it's really important figuring out what works for you, what works for your mindset, what works for your body. And I think what Greg said is so true. Like it's what's been interesting to me is I've had people who will start to kind of get in this like really restrictive mindset for themselves, right? And like say they've chosen a show and it's a little bit of an aggressive timeline and things like that, and then they're just like, oh, they're so stressed about it and everything else, and then their body's not responding. And I've done this before, purposefully not letting them know, where I'm like, you know what, I think what we need to do is push this out. This is a little bit too aggressive of a timeline, knowing they can actually make that timeline, but I know that they're doing it to themselves mentally. And as soon as I give them that like permission or do that and let some of the steam out, because they're holding in so much, they start dropping. Their body starts responding. And then I'm like, then we end up doing the show. I've done it on purpose before, because it's the mind, if we can put ourselves into that flow state, what we're talking about, like Greg said it too, like the body responds so much better. When we're not working against ourselves, we're working
with it.
Well, and so the body, we talk about stress, right? Stress and all the stressors. And it's always funny how we will have athletes who say, well, I'm not stressed. And it's like, well, it's showing up in your body. So you may not be consciously stressed, but if your parasympathetic system is activated and you're in that mode where you're not even conscious of it, that's not going to stop the biological response or physiological response.
You can tell yourself, but your body knows better.
You can say, I'm not stressed at all. And it's like, and honestly, I think that's one of the things that people miss is C-Bum said something in 2023. I think it was when he won the Olympian it was 2023, I think, or maybe 2024. But he said, this prep, I did something different. I embraced everything that I was feeling. I allowed it. I allowed myself to process it. And he said it was a very different prep. And he said, I think he even talked about being on the floor of the bathroom crying at one point or something. And it was such a real, authentic. I mean, what a great ambassador for the sport. But he's really talking about something that's so important, is that when you athletes get in this mode of denial, like, I'm going to deny how I feel something, instead of just saying, this is how I feel in this moment, and that's okay. It's this moment. Adam Grant has a great way of talking about it, which is, I'm hosting stress right now. And it's not going to be forever, but it is right now. And when you deny it, it actually makes it worse, right? You're instead of saying, okay, look, I am stressed about this. I'm thinking about the show. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about other athletes. I'm thinking about whatever. And then just allow yourself to embrace that moment, process it, and then you move from it. But when you just stuff it and you move on from it, and then your body's going to follow. And when it comes to like meal plans and stuff, meal plans have a place, and it's not a one's good, one's bad, one's right, one's wrong. It's what's going to work. And we believe in that approach of something sustainable where we are removing stressors from you. And I get it. When you first start doing it, it can be stressful
It's
because
a lot. It's stressful at the beginning.
And then there's
I did too. Yeah.
There's this gamification part of I got to get zeros on the bottom. I got to get zeros on the bottom,
and
right?
I'm like 2 grams over. Like, how
my
do
God,
I take it away? I was like, oh my God, this is so stressful.
It's funny how people stress over that.
Even
We're
though
not
I
stressing.
say like you get a plus or minus 5 grams, but I did it too. My daughter would make fun of me.
Like 0, and then I'm like, well, I need like 1 more gram of fat, but where am I going to get that from? Like,
I used to do an olive.
That's what I mean. I'm not going to have like 3 grams of something like to just try and get that one like dead on. But like, it's hard not to because you want to get everything.
Well, because you're competitive and I get it. And once you get beyond that and you allow yourself to embrace this, and you said something that, God, man, I wish I had a little bell here. I could just ding, 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 because you said, I get to have the Biscoff.
Yeah.
Right. The words get to, man, those 2 words are so powerful because that means you're at choice.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have that choice. When you are at choice, then you can choose how you're going to frame things, how you're going to embrace things. And honestly, that when I see that happening with an athlete, I mean, of course I want you all to win the Olympia or win the Arnold or whatever. But man, when I see that growth internally, that's when I'm saying, okay, we're on our way.
Yeah.
Because if your mind is right, your body will respond.
Yeah. And I think I like what you said about, all the athletes thinking about so many different things. And the reason people do that is because they care. Like, I don't think it's not a bad thing to want to think about all these stuff because like, that's all I think about now. Like when I'm in prep and when I do all these things, like it's all I think about. And I love having those thoughts and being detailed with things. But then I think if it consumes you in the wrong way, it can then be, like you say, overwhelming and stressful. So I think not a bad thing to have the thoughts and the feelings. And I like that C-Bum actually has been way more open with his like feelings and stuff. And even like, I say this to everyone and I love how it's like the biggest fuck you to a lot of people, but like, sorry, also I swear so much.
It's okay.
It's very British of me.
They can bleep it or do whatever. Yeah.
But when Keon, obviously, I think either in 2020 or 2019 or whenever it was, I think he dropped out of the Olympia for his mindset. Yeah. And everyone, like that was like huge outlet where everyone was like, that's so like stupid, like you should push through, like you should be a real bodybuilder. F you, I'm 3-time now. Like what are you talking about? I took time for me because I wasn't ready. Like I needed to find.
You guys are not robots.
Yeah, I needed to find where I needed to be. Yeah, I loved that season. That
arguably
series.
one of the best gymnasts ever. She took a mental health break. Naomi Osaka, tennis player. From Japan. She also took a year and a half of mental, because she said, I'm just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And it's hard because she went, I mean, in the tennis tour is just uber competitive and cutthroat. And she got it to the top, but then at the point where she got to the top, it's like, oh, what do I do now?
Well, now I feel like,
but she was so public with it. And I was just watching her at Wimbledon, your country's tournament, which is one of my favorite. I think it was Wimbledon or the U.S. Open. I can't remember, but I was watching her and just the different. They were talking about her mental approach and stuff, and I was just seeing this really super calm athlete, and she was going over and like at the end of it, she just embraced the other. She was almost coaching the other athlete. It was just it was really beautiful to see. But had she not been transparent and this is what I need, I'm stepping away.
Yeah. And to be like I'm stepping away for me. And I think not a lot of people kind of like understand that really. Because again, bodybuilding is very much like, especially for the men and wherever, it's very much like, get it done, you do suck it up. Exactly. And I think one of the main things I've absolutely loved and spoken about to so many people is that like I've had, a woman figure as part of my journey. And I haven't had that in my career at all. So it's been really, really nice to kind of have that. And I think my mentality has always been, and that's not because I've had male coaches previously before, but I think because my mindset has been exposed to that, where it has been, get shit done, get it done. And I love having that mindset sometimes because it makes me feel very empowered. But you showed me a side where I can take care of myself in more of a feminine way that isn't not powerful. Right.
It's not an all or none.
Yeah.
We can marry both of those things together.
Yeah. And I think I never thought that before. Not like I could never do it before, but I felt the way that I succeeded was let's go get shit done, like very, very masculine energy. And you've shown me to kind of like bring myself back a little bit, to take care of myself. Like every check-in literally in 2024 always ended kind of with like, take care of yourself, like take your time, like recover. And I was like, thank you for that constant reminder, because it's very much needed. Because I do think that sometimes it's the mentality of how a prep is perceived or how an off-season is perceived can shift the way you do things. So
your energy has been so inspiring to me, and like seeing the shift in you energetically has like really touched me in such a deep way. It's actually funny. There's been a few times where I'm like, you know, in a mood or feeling kind of anxious for the day, and I've turned on like one of your podcasts and just listened to it, because like
I love that.
It really does like completely like shift my mindset, because it's just I feel this shift in you in such a beautiful way, and that, you know, you can be a fierce competitor. You can still be on your on point, which you are. I mean, every week you're progressing like truly mind-blowing. And at the same time, like seeing this side of you where you're like, you know, I'm doing my different things to you know, take good care of my skin and my hair, and I'm you know, I'm making sure I'm getting enough rest, and just like there's kind of like this, there's like this kindness and this softness to yourself while still holding you're accountable. And it's really, I think it's a really neat thing to see and to be part of. And I'm so proud of where we are, and I'm so excited to see what's coming.
I'm really excited.
You know?
I'm very excited. I think
I feel like we've already won.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, being here today like this in this state is the win.
Yeah, I do think that it feels, and when it comes to placing, so I know people probably want to know about the Arnolds and stuff, but like for me, I have just literally wanted this feeling for like my season of 2026. Like, yes, the goal is to, you know, get to the Olympia and do XYZ things. I think for me, but my main aspects of things, the forefront of everything has literally been like, you have to want to do things and you have to enjoy what you're doing. And it, like, again, like we've said before, it's not about like not putting in the work, because I'm not afraid of the work, but for me, I need to want to do it and enjoy the process of it all. And I think we've done that 1000%, and it just feels really, really good to be in this spot, especially at like 9 weeks out. Yeah. We've got so much to play around with, and like so many fun things. So it's going to be great to kind of experience it all.
So we have fun things planned. We're doing
the assessment today.
And going to make a little adjustments we need to the training plan. We haven't needed to change a whole lot, because the body has been just clockwork. Literally every single week, significant changes.
I'm excited.
It's been kind of fun to, you know, like, okay, no changes to the macros this week, are very small.
Do you want to change anything? And you're like, no, we're good. I'm like, okay. Yeah, the changes, obviously you asked me the question before, the changes honestly have been like minimal. Like it's not been like huge drops or huge dips or anything like that, which again, each prep is always going to be different. It's not saying that we don't, you know, not every prep needs that, but this one hasn't. So like when you've made a change, my body's then responded, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, this is great.
Right,
like,
a little bit of cardio or just a little bit less food or a refeed, and then you drop right afterwards.
Yeah, so. and that's, I think I like the mentality of this one being a push and pull. Like it's been like, you know, push, and then you've, you know, kind of given me either extra food or like pull back on things, and then you go again. And that's been really nice to kind of see that. I haven't had that for a while. So it's nice to have that mentality in a prep for sure. Yeah. So yeah.
We are at time.
Yes.
And
we'll definitely come back and do another episode and update everybody.
So we will come back post Arnold.
Yeah. Or pre-Arnold.
Or pre-Arnold.
Yeah,
that's right.
She'll be back
that's
out
right.
before.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I forgot about that. Okay. So we will be out pre-Arnold, and I just will say something that I don't know if I've told you this, but we are proud of you.
Thank you.
We are very proud of you, and I mean, at this point, you know, we can never control placing.
No.
But what we can control is process.
Yeah.
And you have just really surrendered to it in so many different ways, and I applaud both of you for this, because I've been able to watch it from the cheap seats, but I don't think words can ever really truly describe the interplay that I've heard and witnessed between the two of you.
Yeah.
But it's really just magical in the sense that you guys were on the same page. Where there was fantastic communication, expression of needs. Jamie, I can tell you this. Well, I think what some people don't. She can crack the whip when she needs to crack the whip, but it's not a. But the thing that we've learned as leaders over time is that there's no one way to do things. No. And what I want to be is an adaptive leader or situational leader or situational coach where what does this situation require? Every day matters because every day is a gift in its own way. Okay. Every day matters, but it's the accumulation of those days. There's going to be some days that are going to be up, some days are going to be down, some days are going to be somewhere in the middle, And it's being able to just kind of move through that flow through those days and to get to the destination, whatever that destination is. But if you follow the process, you get your mind right, it'll lead you to destinations that you maybe never even thought possible. So I'm really proud of you, and I'm proud of you. And this has been a real gift to be able to watch you guys work. So
well, we're going to have fun at the summit. Like one thing that I feel like is so fun is you've posed so many of the athletes that I coach, and then us getting to do that side by side. It's fun to collaborate with you with your posing and us talking about like what I'm seeing and how it's just I feel like there's just so much great synergy between the two of us and the way that we think. And I love how open you've been to a lot of different things. We're doing so many things different than you've done before. And you've been really open and receptive to it. And like Greg says, I mean, I can be really tough when I need to, but it's all about picking your spots. You know what I mean? It's like if there's room for, us to collaborate and things are flowing, why do I need to do that? You know what I mean?
Exactly. So
this has been an amazing experience, and I'm excited. I'm excited to update everybody as we get closer.
Yeah, I'm excited. And don't get me wrong, like as much as I'm not thinking about placings, I am coming.
Phoebe, listen.
I'm coming.
If you're
not gonna lie.
This is a competition. And I talk about this all the time. I don't want you to not want to win.
Yeah.
I don't want you to not be competitive. And when it's done, if you didn't win, I don't want you to not feel something.
Yeah.
Okay? And what I want that balance is to recognize that winning is not everything, and that if you enjoy what you're doing in the process, the wins will come because you've just put into place that process. But
I'm feeling very confident about this season from that perspective.
Yeah, it's attaching your identity to the process, not to the win or to the loss.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's really what it comes down to.
When you focus on the process, then the rest falls into place. And I'm feeling very good and very confident about what we're bringing. So I'm excited.
So we need a checkout word.
Oh, inspired.
Well, I will tell you that would be my checkout word.
Yeah.
So, and then are you ready to assist us with the 4 Bs? Because we now have 4. The last time you were here, there was only 3. Would you like to assist us with that? Would you like be safe? Would you like be safe?
Like, is there going to be a test?
What was this again?
Would you like be safe or be kind?
Oh, be kind.
Wait, no, be safe or be.
Oh, it's the ending. Oh, it's the end. I was like, wait, what are we doing?
So 4 Bs. 4 Bs. Okay. Be kind. So you want to be kind? That seems to flow with you.
When do I say that?
You'll know. We'll cue you. Okay. But before we do that, we'll also cue you to remind everybody to like, comment, subscribe, and leave your reviews on the podcast, and then we can do the 4 Bs.
Well, and how do people get a hold of you?
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So for the posing portal and stuff like that, for the app, honestly, just go to the website, theposingportal.com, or get a hold of us on Instagram, which is the Posing Portal. And they can just kind of get all information from there.
Yeah, I mean, last time you were here, you were just launching the app.
Yeah, oh my
God,
now
it's like freaking going wild. It's
wild.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been really, really cool. Like I've really enjoyed stepping into, again, this is why it's been nice to have that year off to literally pour into different variations of my life and stuff. So it was all timing.
Yeah,
timing very well.
You made reason of the situation, which is great.
Yep.
Okay, you ready? 4 Bs.
Be good to yourself.
Be good to each other.
Be safe.
Be kind.
Jamie kind of stepped in on that, which is okay. It was okay. It's all right. It's okay. It all worked. It was
all good.
You approve. You still approve.
All good. And everybody, please follow those instructions. Thanks for joining us, and tune in for our Fusion Hack this week, where we will have Miss Phoebe again, and we'll give you some tips. But as to what those tips are, you got to tune in. See you again. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to FitBody Lifestyle. We hope today's episode has left you feeling motivated and equipped to tackle your fitness goals, business challenges, and the daily dance of life. Remember to value progress over perfection. Life's tough enough alone. Find the chosen family around you to help you along the way.
If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite streaming platform. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at FitBody Fusion.